remember mentioning earlier that for literally any Monarch Legacy of Monsters episode to be considered artistically successful, it needed a minimum amount of monster content, given that this is after all the Monsterverse. But it seems like I have had a change of heart after this week's episode release. In this week's episode titled "Will the Real May Please Stand Up?", there is not even a minute of monster action. Yeah, they bring back the Ice Beast, but we have seen it twice before. Surprisingly though, I found myself completely drawn to the human characters this time. The sudden boost of adrenaline in the plot surrounding them and the performances delivered was so captivating that it also made up for the absence of a new monster face. While Monarch Legacy of Monsters has successfully steered clear of the cliches typical to its genre during its impressive Season 1 run, Episode 7 specifically delves into May's backstory, intertwining it with various 2015 subplots involving Lee's takeover plans and Kate's latest mission. The results are mixed, and oddly enough, May, who might be considered the least interesting aspect of the entire series, takes center stage in this episode. Let's hope this is just a hiccup in an otherwise outstanding first season. In the last episode of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, things got pretty intense with two separate showdowns involving Godzilla in two different timelines. The younger Lee Shaw and Dr. Keiko found themselves falling for each other, but their Titan hunting mission took precedence as Keiko had to head to Japan with Bill Randa, leaving Lee with a dilemma of attending a crucial budget proposal meeting or pursuing his feelings for Keiko. Despite warnings from General Puckett, who knew about Lee's emotions, Lee decided to confess his love to Keiko and ghost the meeting. However, she prioritized the safety of people and Titan's research over their relationship, which was a sentiment ironically reinforced by the sudden appearance of Godzilla from the water. Meanwhile, the older Lee Shaw, separated from Kate, May and Kentaro, managed to reunite with them with the help of Duval, who was rebelling against Monarch for personal reasons. The team then headed to North Africa in search of Hiroshi Randa, encountering not only him but also Godzilla. While Lee Shaw chose to follow Godzilla with Randa, the Randa kids pursued Hiroshi without a clear idea of his whereabouts. As the suspense is building up, let's find out what remains to be seen in the latest episode. But before we get started with the video, we have a small request for you. If you like our content, subscribe to us and like this video. It might just be a simple click for you, but it means a lot to us. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. May gets separated from the group. Episode 7 kicks off in the middle of the Algerian desert, with Tim waking up amidst the wreckage of a helicopter crash, realizing that he is the sole survivor from his team, thanks to Godzilla for that. Making his way back to the airport, he unexpectedly crosses paths with Kate and Kentaro, who are huddled together, strategizing their next moves. The atmosphere is tense as May has a fallout from betraying the siblings to Duval in her desire to return home, and this is keeping her distance from them. May's attempt to ease the tension with business class plane tickets for all, but there is still an undeniable awkwardness lingering among the trio. Despite Kate's inquiry about May's whereabouts, it is evident that the siblings still cared for her, even if they were angry with her deception. The plot thickens as May gets seemingly abducted by two mysterious men dressed in black from the bathroom. Contrary to initial suspicions pointing to Monarch's involvement, these abductors are actually linked to May's past, which is tied to a company called AET. We see Kate growing concerned for May's sudden absence and going on a search for her throughout the airport, only to stumble upon May's abandoned belongings in the toilets. Now they know that May would never leave without essential items like a passport and phone, so naturally Kate begins to fear the worst.
Randa kids are here. I need to help them do something first. Also, I might need to piggyback some Monarch.
Tim wins over the Randa kids. As Kate and Kentaro search for May at the airport, they unexpectedly encounter Tim, who has just survived Godzilla's awakening. Kate, in her usual direct manner, presses Tim for answers despite his dehydrated state. While Tim does share some information about Hiroshi's involvement with Monarch, he dances around the Hollow Earth theory, perhaps leaving the big reveal for later episodes. However, with finding May as her top priority, Kate strikes a deal with Tim and asks him to use Monarch's connections to locate May, and in return, Kate will take him to shore. But Kentaro, feeling betrayed by Hiroshi for awakening Godzilla and then disappearing, briefly disagrees with Kate. Next we know, Tim contacts Natalia, updating her on his efforts to capture the Randa kids and Shaw, while revealing his first-hand encounter with Godzilla. When Natalia brings up protocol, Tim asserts his loyalty to the Randa kids, emphasizing that it was actually Monarch's actions that had led everyone astray. So Natalia advises Tim to reveal the truth about May to the Randa kids before proceeding with the search and rescue mission. Taking Natalia's advice, Tim begins by winning the Randa kids over by discussing Hiroshi's association with Monarch, and then unveils that May is actually Korra.
About helping you. I didn't care about your dad. I was using you. I was using you.
We finally know who May is. Through a 3-year flashback, we delve into May's origin story, learning that her real name is actually Cora. This flashback unfolds in San Francisco as May finds herself in the company of Brenda Holland, who's pitching a job opportunity at her company AET, envisioning a collaborative effort to shape a new future. On a side note, for the sake of simplicity, let's stick to calling her May because the new name just makes everything too confusing. Now, Brenda recruited her for her coding skills, tempting her with access to cutting-edge technology and financial incentives, ultimately leading May to accept the offer. However, the initial excitement fades as May expresses her dissatisfaction with a lack of impact in her first 6 months with the company. After requesting a change in her role, Brenda emphasizes that May needs to earn her place before taking a seat at the table. Next, we witness May attempting to celebrate her birthday amidst a barrage of text messages blaming her for system crashes at work. In a frantic plea, May turns to her younger sister, seeking cash and her passport to help her disappear. Apparently, May had hacked into her employer's mainframe, uncovering unethical experiments on live animals. After discovering inhumane animal testing, she wiped the company's data, becoming the lead suspect as the system crashed. Naturally, fearing for her safety after deleting millions of dollars worth of research, May fled, ultimately finding refuge in Tokyo and assuming a new identity. Randa siblings and Tim team up to save May. In the present, May finds herself back at AET headquarters in Washington, facing her boss, Brenda Holland, who finally holds her accountable regarding the system crash which made the company suffer a huge loss 3 years ago. Simultaneously, Tim, Kate and Kentaro successfully trace May's location to this very building, and in order to infiltrate the building without raising suspicion, Tim triggers a Titan alert system, causing chaos in the streets while successfully diverting AET's attention. Brenda, however, sees right through the ruse and presents May with an intriguing offer, rather than getting scared by the alarm. She goes on to say that May can either escape with her friends and serve as AET's spy in Monarch, leveraging AET's interests in Titans, or officially rejoin AET to do the same. When May encounters Kate, she surprisingly rejects the chance to go with her, opting to stay with AET and basically making her choice not to betray her friends to make them suffer for a decision she had made. We see Kate, Kentaro and Tim emerge from the AET building, grappling with confusion over May's unexpected choice and doubting Brenda and May's relationship in a state of bewilderment. Before they can fully process the situation, Natalia intervenes and takes the trio to Monarch headquarters. While Natalia plans to follow the usual protocol with them, Kate proposes a different approach and suggests the same deal she offered Tim. If Natalia helps get May out of AET's clutches, Kate will assist Natalia in locating Shaw. So even if Brenda was immensely happy over May's decision to stay at AET, the tables turn when she receives an unexpected call. The episode then transitions to May returning to her house and reuniting with her family, indicating that Natalia has honored her end of the deal. Tim urges Natalia Verdugo to reveal Monarch to the world. Although Verdugo finds herself scrambling to address the aftermath of Tim's false alarm use of the still-secret Titan warning system, which they used as a diversion to infiltrate AET's building, she responds confidently, stating that their PR team will handle the situation. Tim proposes a bolder approach, urging Monarch to step into the limelight and proactively address Titan-related incidents. To everyone's surprise, Natalia agrees, publicly affirming that Monarch is taking charge of dealing with massive unidentified terrestrial organisms, MUTOs. She goes on to deliver a motivational speech that sheds light on how Monarch went from an organization nobody has ever heard of to a whole-ass operation about publicly aware monster preserves all around the world, which was seen in Godzilla, King of Monsters. What is Lee and Duval up to? Fueled by the rebellious members of Monarch led by Duval, Shaw takes bold steps to unleash a destructive plan and seizes control of Monarch's outpost in Alaska. The motive behind targeting this specific outpost becomes apparent as Shaw gathers a substantial amount of explosives concealed within the facility. He positions them near a mysterious glowing rift that he had noticed during his escape from the Frostvark, accompanied by the Randa siblings. This radiant rift, seemingly a pathway or sinkhole leading to Hollow Earth, becomes the focal point of Shaw's scheme. Commanding his troops to strategically set charges around it, Shaw utilizes the Titan's heat-seeking ability to lure out the Frostvark. As the explosive charges wreak havoc, the rift implodes into a singularity-type phenomenon, creating a vortex that pulls everything into its grasp. This aftermath is marked by a fiery explosion, leaving no trace of the surrounding area or the Frostvark, who is apparently obliterated in the severe impact. In a surprising twist, Shaw revels in triumph, emitting an almost maniacal laugh in response to the havoc he unleashed, which honestly caught me off guard, given that he left the trio in the previous episode to help the Titans in the first place. Although hints scattered throughout the series' past timeline does suggest a darker side to Shaw. While Bill and Keiko's sense of admiration for the unknown seemed absent in him, Shaw had initially appeared more understanding than figures like General Puckett. The death of Keiko during the Titan investigation may have corrupted his mindset, offering an explanation for both why Tim and Verdugo harbored reservations about him from the beginning. On a side note, Shaw accomplishes what no nefarious human character in the Monsterverse has by killing a Titan. His unwavering certainty hints that his intentions with Godzilla are far from noble, adding an intriguing layer of complexity to the evolving narrative. How does the episode end? Towards the conclusion of Monarch Legacy of Monsters Episode 7, the narrative takes a perplexing turn as Shaw revels in what he believes to be a successful method of trapping a Titan, but the ambiguity of the scene leaves us questioning the actual outcome. The concluding minutes of the episode raise several unanswered questions, potentially due to intentional editing to either withhold information or expedite the narrative. Firstly, the events between Duval and Shaw's time in Algeria and their arrival in Alaska remain undisclosed. Secondly, the nature of the deal between Natalia and Brenda remains a mystery. Thirdly, despite Kate's promise to take Natalia to Shaw and prevent his destructive plan, Natalia participates in a press conference while Shaw succeeds in blowing up the rift. Though Natalia fulfills her end of the deal, it appears Kate may not have done the same. Even if Kate and Kentaro express their intention to work with Monarch, the specifics of their mission remain unclear. Plus, the decision for them to stay back, allowing May to reunite with them at the last minute, feels somewhat contrived. Furthermore, May's abrupt departure from her family after their reunion raises questions about the driving force behind her character. Wasn't the need to be with her family the primary motivation? The sudden departure seems to leave loose ends and suggests that significant portions of the plot may have been omitted from the episode, potentially impacting the overall storytelling. Plus, in a significant plot development, Brenda receives a call from Walter Simmons, leading to a transformation of the AET logo into Apex Cybernetics. Now, Walter Simmons, previously featured in Godzilla vs. Kong, played a crucial role alongside Ren Serizawa in creating Mecha Godzilla. This mechanical behemoth was powered by the skull of King Ghidorah, an energy sourced from the Hollow Earth. Although both Ren and Simmons are deceased in the current Monsterverse timeline, it is exactly what makes this name drop intriguing. It hints at the possibility of exploring Simmons' journey, shedding light on how he obtained Ghidorah's skull and manipulated Ren to harness its power for controlling Mechagodzilla. The narrative opens up avenues for delving into the time gaps between Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong, allowing for the development of pre-established characters and the fleshing out of those introduced in the Monarch Legacy of Monsters series. What is our verdict on this episode? Honestly, Will the Real May Please Stand Up offers a lot to appreciate. The backstory revelation adds depth to May, aka Korra's character, and Shaw's unexpected shift to a more antagonistic role is somewhat surprisingly effective. Joe Tippett's Tim finally finds his purpose, showcasing solid improv skills and providing much-needed comic relief, especially in the manga scene with Korra's family. Even the head of AET serves as a fairly effective one-off antagonist, and Natalia's final speech resonates powerfully. The monster reveal at the end is also cool, and the escalating romantic tension between Kate and May adds an engaging layer, culminating in a touching scene where they cuddle and hold hands while Kentaro contemplates the horizon. Pretty funny if you ask me. However, AET's subplot feels a bit too vague and confusing. While their work on a neutral interface before finalizing Mechagodzilla makes sense, the timeline raises questions. How did they know about Godzilla before he became a known entity? The implication that they had prior knowledge due to a close relationship with Monarch is perplexing, especially given the strained relationships between Apex and Monarch in Godzilla vs. Kong and their continued unfriendly terms here. Despite this overarching issue, Episode 7 is far from bad, as the character dynamics remain strong, the action scenes are satisfying, and it sets up intriguing story points for the final 3 episodes. The hope is that the upcoming story arc provides more clarity and depth than the somewhat muddled narrative in this particular episode. Even if this episode ended with some banger revelations, the drama seems to be far from over. It only remains to be seen what the next episode has in store for us. Now that we have come to the very end of this video, what do you think might happen in the next episode of Monarch Legacy of Monsters? Let us know in the comment box below.